everyone. So today we will be dealing with the topic respiration. See, there are two words that you would have heard. One is breathing and second one is respiration. Is there any difference between them? Yes, there is a difference between these two words. One, breathing refers to the process of inhalation of the air and exhalation of the air. It is not the inhalation of the oxygen. It is the air that is moving inside which is having oxygen. It is the air which is present inside our lungs and which is moving the carbon dioxide from the body. While respiration, if I talk of, respiration actually means the oxidation of the food that we intake. The breaking down of the food to get energy actually is through respiration. So breathing word, if I talk of, is a physical process. A process which involves the muscles to pull the air inside our body. If I talk of the respiration, it is a pure chemical process which involves the physical process of breathing. So, for breathing, what I say? It's a physical process of inhalation and exhalation. That is, expelling the air from the body and the air moving inside our body. That means the lungs through the nasal cavity, through the nose. Now, for a respiration, what source is necessary is a glucose. For respiration to occur, glucose is the foremost thing that should be there so that the energy could be derived from that particular chemical molecule. This source is the one which we get after the digestion of the carbohydrates. So now this glucose, how it will aid in respiration, we will be dealing. We will be dealing how this respiration is different in case of aquatic animals. We will be dealing it in the case of the human beings. What are the organs with system which is present for this particular respiration to occur? What happens in case of plants? Do they also breathe? Do they also take oxygen? Yes. For every living organism, if I am talking of, which is surviving through aerobic respiration, oxygen is the prime source for its energy, which helps in the breakdown of the glucose molecule into the carbon dioxide, water and release of energy in the form of ATP. So even plants do that. Even plants, they take oxygen for respiration. It's not the carbon dioxide they utilize. The carbon dioxide they take it for the photosynthesis purpose. So, dealing with this respiration purpose or respiration thing, the respiration, if I talk of, we begin with the glucose molecule. And we say that according to the need, that is oxygen is utilized by the body or it is not utilized by the body. The organism may be considered as an aerobic or anaerobic. If the respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen, then it is known as an aerobic respiration. But if the respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen, or if the oxygen is present but the body does not need it because it has to make the energy at once, usi waqt chahiye. In that case, why to go into a complex procedure? Whatever I have, I'll drive the energy from that, and that is the anaerobic form. Having the energy with the use of, getting the energy with the use of oxygen is aerobic. Without the use of oxygen, which may be the absence of oxygen, chahiye hi nahi, the organism can survive. But in case some are deriving the energy with the lack of oxygen, होते हुए भी नहीं use करना, it is lack of oxygen. So dealing with this, if I talk of, I have a glucose molecule. This glucose molecule is C6H12O6 molecule. This glucose molecule in the cell cytoplasm. If I talk of a cell, this is a cell. Now this is the cytoplasmic area, the nucleus, you know. Now in this cytoplasm, there occurs a process known as glycolysis. Glycolysis is a step which is occurring, which is breaking this glucose molecule. Now breakdown of the complex food into the simpler one is known as catabolism. So catabolism is occurring. The glucose is getting converted into pyruvic acid. A 6-carbon molecule, it breaks down into C3 molecule, a 3-carbon molecule. Along with this pyruvic acid, 2 ATP they are formed. The energy is also released at this step. Now, depending upon the availability of oxygen or non-availability, we say this pyruvic acid, it will undergo 3 different stages, or depending upon whether it needs or does not need oxygen, we say if oxygen is present. If oxygen is present, and in that case in mitochondria. Mitochondria is the one which is a powerhouse of the cell. So this mitochondria, if I am talking of, if it is present in the cell, this mitochondria will help in a process known as Kreb cycle, a process which is used for converting the pyruvic acid. The further steps of the pyruvic acid, they occur in this Kreb cycle, so that the last products that we get are the carbon dioxide, the water molecule, and 36 to 38 ATP molecules. So maximum energy you can see we can get through the aerobic respiration. When there is lack of oxygen. Lack of oxygen is oxygen तो present है, but body को बहुत ज़्यादा need है energy की. So एक you can say एक वाया पैसेज, एक दूसरे पैसेज से वो एनर्जी ड्राइव करने स्टार्ट कर देते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई से कि आपको एक सर्कल है, उसको 8 to 10 राउंड्स लगाने हैं उसके. 1 round, 2 round, 3 round, 4 round, you will be comfortable, okay, you will be enjoying that particular, taking rounds of that particular ground. But after that, when you had completed the 10 rounds, what will happen? When you will go back to your home, you will start feeling your legs having the cramps. Now, why does that cramp occur? That cramp occurred because of the formation of lactic acid. The energy was actually made by this mitochondria when only the oxygen is present. But in muscles, when you want deliberately, you want energy, in that case, the muscles, they go a gateway, they go a different pathway and form a lactic acid. So net energy that you get is a 2 ATP molecule. That cell has given you energy. But now that energy, now that lactic acid has been stored in your muscles. Now this lactic acid will get converted when you will give a proper time for relaxing, and again the pyruvic acid and a procedure will occur, and then your cramps will get settled down. But in case of some other organism like yeast, in case of yeast, they don't need oxygen. So in case, what we say, in absence of oxygen, this particular yeast will result in the formation of carbon dioxide and ethanol. The alcohol production. The yeast helps in forming the alcohol. You would have heard about the baking industries. You would have heard about the brewery industries, that is the industries which make alcohol. They use this yeast for fermentation. That fermentation process which is taking place in the absence of oxygen is resulting in the formation of ethanol. The raising of the dough, you say, is all due to the release of the CO2. And in this case also, what we say, only 2 ATP they are formed. So compared to an aerobic respiration, if I say I have got 36 to 38 ATP molecules, but in this case I am getting just 2 ATP molecules. So energy getting is comparatively low, but it's a pathway which is actually used by the different organisms. This lack of oxygen, if I talk of this lactic acid, even you would have heard about the curd. Curd contains, very good, curd contains the lactic acid. So this lactic acid, the lactic acid bacteria, which is the lactobacillus, is somehow that lactic acid bacteria, they are also forming this lactic acid. So this is how in respiration the work occurs. If I say I have taken the food, I have digested the food, what is the role of that particular food? इतनी मेहनत करी थी, आपने खाना खाया, एंजाइम्स ने उसको डिग्रेड डाउन करा, ग्लूकोज बनाया, अमीनो एसिड बनाया, फैटी एसिड, ग्लिसरॉल बनाया, then what's the use of this? This is its use. The glucose so formed is giving us energy. So more you eat, the more energy you get. Now sometimes if you try to keep a fast, what happens? The glucose in your body, it goes down. And when it is going down, if I say, then the energy that is required by your body also gets down. In that case, you start feeling weak. So then stored food that is present in your liver will act on, it will again get converted into glucose and will give you the energy. Now talking of this ATP molecule, that is, yes, adenosine triphosphate. If I am talking of this adenosine triphosphate, I have 3 phosphate groups. For one phosphate, I say 30.5 kilojoule of energy it is dissipated. It is released, and if I have 3 phosphate molecules, a total of 91.5 kilojoule of energy from one ATP molecule I will be getting. Now I have a stock of around 38 ATP. So just see, one glucose molecule yielding 38 ATP in your body. So the more you eat, and it's not one glucose molecule, you say if I have the carbohydrate, if I have the starch. Starch is a polysaccharide. This polysaccharide is having many glucose units. So just imagine कितनी सारी एनर्जी आ रही है आपको खाने से. If I say maltose है मेरे पास, तो maltose breaks down into 2 glucose molecule. तो ये एनर्जी उस माल्टोज से भी क्या हो गई? डबल अप हो गई. So this is how the energy conversion occurs in our body. Now let's see how the other organisms like the aquatic animals, the human beings, they do this respiration process. What do the system they have for respiration? So as you can see, I have drawn a fish. A fish, which is an aquatic animal, it respires with the help of gills. And the respiration through the gills is known as brachial respiration. So in this particular fish, if we see the water which is having the oxygen in a dissolved form, it moves inside this particular fish. Water which is having the dissolved oxygen, it enters in the mouth. From mouth, it is carried to the buccal cavity. From buccal cavity, it moves to the pharynx. From pharynx, it moves to the gills. Now, gills is a place where what we say, exchange of the gases will take place. Now, if I say exchange of gases is going to take place, there is definitely something which will receive the oxygen, and that is nothing but the blood capillary. Now, if I talk of this blood capillary will take oxygen and will give to the rest part of the body, while the CO2 from the body will be given back to these particular gills. Either the air will be expelled out from the gills or mouth will expel out the water which was taken inside, and in the form of the bubbles the air will be released. But there is a twist in case of this aquatic animals. The twist is, here when we are talking of aquatic animals, we are talking of the one which are respiring through the gills. So when I say in case of aquatic animals, they are taking the oxygen in the dissolved form. In water, the quantity of the dissolved oxygen is comparatively less. अगर कोई चीज कम है तो लेकिन बॉडी की नीड उतनी है, तो बॉडी क्या करेगी? बॉडी विल ट्राई टू सर्च इधर से उधर से, इधर से उधर से. In that case, these aquatic animals, they have a respiration rate which is comparatively higher than the terrestrial organism. For an aquatic animals, the rate of respiration is always high. This is a 2-mark question. Why the respiration rate is high in case of aquatic animals? The reason is very simple. Since the dissolved oxygen in water is very less, as a result, the breathing rate needs to be, increased, and that is why the air needs to be pumped inside by this, or taken inside by the help of the water. And that makes a different case for this aquatic animals, the fishes which respire through gills. Other name for it is the brachial respiration. Likewise, if I say lungs की वजह से जो respiration है, that respiration is termed as a pulmonary respiration. If I talk of the frog, गिल्स भी हैं, लंग्स भी है, स्किन से भी रेस्पायर कर रहे हैं. For that skin we have a word known as cutaneous respiration. So these 3 different types of respiration with a different word we can say skin respiration, pulmonary respiration, or a brachial respiration. Now we'll deal with the respiration in case of the human beings. So as you can see, this is a human respiratory system. The air from the nose as well as the mouth can enter into our lungs. So this is the nose and this is the mouth. The air is entering from the nose, it goes into the nasal cavity. Nasal cavity. Now, this is an area which is known as pharynx. Pharynx, it leads to a flap-like structure known as epiglottis. If I say the pharynx was broken down into 2 pipes, that is the esophagus, that is the food pipe, and this is the windpipe. So, the food should not enter into this particular area. This particular system or respiratory system, they have a guard, and this flap-like structure, a leaf-like structure you can say, is the epiglottis, which is guarding the entry of the air and restricting the entry of the food into the trachea. So this is the epiglottis, the cavity now which has been started off is the glottis. This is the glottis. A covering, if I say this is my glottis, this is the epiglottis. Now this glottis is leading to a voice box. This is the voice box which is the larynx. This is the larynx. Then you have a tube over here, and this tube is known as trachea. This is trachea. Now this trachea is guarded by C-shaped cartilaginous rings. The function of this cartilaginous rings is to protect the pipe, the trachea, from collapsing, to prevent the lungs from getting collapsed. पाइप में से अगर हवा जा रही है तो it can it can get shrink off, और अगर shrink हो गया तो सारी lungs खत्म हो जाएंगी, will die off. So to prevent that, what is present? These cartilaginous rings, they are present. Now this trachea which leads to the primary bronchi. These are the primary bronchi. Now these primary bronchi, they are going to two different parts, two different lungs. The right hand of your right hand is diagram's left hand. So this will be the left lung and this will be the right lung. Okay, so this is the primary bronchi, and this primary bronchi, you can see it is also having this C-shaped rings. The primary bronchi, it breaks down into the secondary bronchi. Secondary bronchi further breaks down into tertiary bronchi. The tertiary bronchi breaks down into the bronchioles. Now in this diagram you can see till bronchioles these rings, they are present. Now the terminal bronchiole is devoid of this particular rings. Then comes the alveolar duct and the alveoli. Alveoli, it is a sac-like structure, a balloon-like structure that is present in the lung, and there are around 300 million alveoli present in our lungs. In both the lungs, if we calculate, that is, the number comes around 300 million alveoli. Just imagine a tree with a tree trunk. That is the trachea. The branches being the bronchi, bronchioles, and finally the leaves are your alveoli. So you can see a tree with so many alveoli, so many, you can say the leaves. So leaves here are compared with the alveoli. So there are around 300 alveoli present, and these alveoli are obviously connected with the capillary, because this is the place where exchange of O2 and CO2 will take place, and the passage of CO2 will again be like this. So this is the human respiratory system. Now the main important role played in this is of diaphragm. The lungs, they are actually protected by the two coverings, and these are known as pleural membranes. These are known as pleural membranes. These membranes are the one which will protect the lungs from getting, shock. This lungs, they are also protected together by the help of the ribs. Your ribs, they are also present to protect this particular this particular lungs, and this is known as a chest cavity, which is further protecting our lungs. So we'll deal with the functioning of this respiratory system in our next session. Thank you.